There are seasons in life when nothing collapses, yet everything quietly rearranges. You don't lose your job. You don't lose people dramatically. You don't hit rock bottom, and still something changes. You start seeing things differently. You start feeling things more deeply. You start questioning what you once accepted without thought. That's not instability. That's awareness waking up. For a long time, you lived on instinct, responding quickly, adjusting constantly, doing what was necessary to keep life moving. And you were good at it. You learned how to adapt, how to stay strong, how to keep going even when no one noticed how heavy things felt. But adaptation has a cost. When you spend too long surviving, you forget what it feels like to live with intention. This season is calling you back to intention. That's why your pace has changed. That's why you pause before saying yes. That's why your patience feels different now. You're no longer interested in rushing toward outcomes. You're more interested in how something feels while you're in it. That's maturity. You may notice that you don't feel as reactive anymore. Situations that once triggered you now feel distant. Conversations that once pulled you in no longer hold the same weight. You're not becoming cold. You're becoming centered. Centering happens when you stop abandoning yourself to keep things comfortable. For a long time, you carried more than your share. You explained more than necessary. You tolerated more than you should have. Not because you were weak, but because you were trying to keep peace. Now we're learning a new lesson. Peace doesn't come from overgiving. It comes from alignment. Alignment means you don't force yourself into spaces where you don't belong. It means you don't shrink to fit expectations. It means you allow yourself to choose honesty over harmony. This can feel uncomfortable at first, because growth often asks you to sit with uncertainty, to resist the urge to rush, to trust that clarity will arrive without force. You may feel like you're standing between two versions of yourself. The old one no longer feels right. The new one isn't fully clear yet. That in-between space can feel empty. But emptiness here is not loss, it's space being created. Space for better decisions. Space for healthier connections. Space for a life that actually reflects who you are now. You don't need to fill this space. Let it breathe. Clarity doesn't arrive through pressure. It arrives through presence. As you stay present, you'll notice subtle shifts. Your thoughts become quieter. Your choices feel more grounded. Your energy feels less scattered. You stop chasing reassurance. You stop seeking constant confirmation. You begin to trust yourself again. And self-trust changes everything. You won't feel the need to prove where you're going. You won't feel pressured to explain your timing. You won't feel anxious about being misunderstood, because alignment doesn't require validation. This season is not holding you back. It's preparing you to move forward without losing balance. Soon, you'll recognize why things slowed down, why certain paths closed, why some connections faded, not as punishment, but as protection. You're not being delayed. You're being positioned to move with clarity instead of chaos. So allow this phase to do its work. Nothing about it is wasted. Nothing about it is random. And as this season continues to unfold, you may begin to notice something else. The world around you hasn't changed much, but you have. You respond differently now. You pause where you once rushed. You observe where you once reacted. This is not distance. This is discernment. You're no longer giving your energy to everything that demands it. You're learning to protect what matters. There was a time when you thought being strong meant enduring everything. Holding on longer. Trying harder. Explaining yourself again and again. But now, You understand something deeper. Strength is knowing when to stop forcing, when to step back, when to choose peace over persistence. That realization didn't come overnight. It came through experience, through moments that tested you, through situations that taught you what alignment feels like and what it doesn't. You may still feel moments of uncertainty. That's normal. Growth doesn't erase doubt immediately. It teaches you how to move without letting doubt control you. And that's what you're doing now. You're no longer chasing every possibility. You're waiting for what feels steady. Steady doesn't rush. Steady doesn't beg. Steady doesn't demand constant reassurance. Steady simply moves when it's time. This season is teaching you how to trust that timing, not the kind of trust that waits passively, but the kind that stays present, grounded, and aware. You're learning that clarity arrives when you stop trying to escape discomfort and start listening to it. Because discomfort is often information. It tells you where you've outgrown something. It tells you where your values have shifted. It tells you when a chapter is ending even if the next one isn't fully visible yet. That doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're in transition. Transitions feel quiet. They don't come with applause. They come with inner adjustment. And once that adjustment completes, movement returns, but differently. More intentional, more balanced, more aligned. Soon, you'll notice that things begin to line up without struggle. Decisions feel easier. Opportunities feel clearer. People who no longer fit naturally drift away. And those who do align arrive without force. That's how alignment works. It doesn't require effort. It requires honesty. This phase is shaping you to move forward without losing yourself again, without repeating old cycles, without carrying unnecessary weight. You're not being prepared for noise. You're being prepared for stability. And stability creates space for growth that lasts. When you look back on this time, you won't remember it as confusion. You'll remember it as the moment you stopped living on autopilot and started choosing consciously. This is where clarity takes root. This is where peace becomes consistent. This is where direction begins to feel natural again. Nothing about this season was wasted. It was refining you, grounding you, positioning you. And now, you're ready to move forward, not hurried, not uncertain, but steady. That's how this chapter closes. And that's how the next one begins.